वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा, वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह.
Welcome to
Akaal Stories.
Today you'll be joining me, Dibjeet Kaur.
And me, Amanpreet Kaur.
So before we move on to anything else, let's do the Guru Mantar, the Moon Mantar and the Sikh general knowledge. And everybody, please join in with us.
Vaheguru, 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 Vaheguru. एक ओंकार सतनाम करता पुरख निरभउ निर्वैर अकाल मूरत अजूनी सैभं गुर प्रसाद.
That's Guru Adena.
पहली पातशाही श्री गुरु नानक देव जी, दूजी पातशाही श्री गुरु अंगद देव जी, तीजी पातशाही श्री गुरु अमरदास जी, चौथी पातशाही श्री गुरु रामदास जी, पंचवी पातशाही श्री गुरु अर्जन देव जी, छेवीं पातशाही श्री गुरु हरगोबिंद साहिब जी, सतवीं पातशाही श्री गुरु हरराय जी, अठवीं पातशाही श्री गुरु हरकृष्ण जी, नौवीं पातशाही श्री गुरु तेग बहादुर जी, 10वीं पातशाही श्री गुरु गोबिंद सिंह जी, 10 पातशाहियां दी जोत धन धन श्री गुरु ग्रंथ साहिब जी. पंज प्यारियां दे नां भाई दया सिंह जी, भाई धर्म सिंह जी, भाई हिम्मत सिंह जी, भाई मोहकम सिंह जी, भाई साहिब सिंह जी.
4 साहिबजादे देना.
बाबा अजीत सिंह जी, बाबा जुझार सिंह जी, बाबा जोरवर सिंह जी, बाबा फतेह सिंह जी. 5 Ks. केस, कंगा, कड़ा, किरपान, कशहरा.
3 golden rules.
नाम जपो, कीर्त करो, वान के शको.
Nam Japo means doing
Doing
part.
part.
Kirt Guru means
Honest hard work.
Van Kishako means
Sharing.
Well done, everybody. So today's topic is very important to all of us. You should know the answer to our question today. So first of all, let's tell you our topic. So today we're going to be learning about,
Why we're proud to be a Sikh.
yes, this is a very important topic because sometimes someone might come up to you and say, why are you a Sikh? And if you don't have the answer, then that person's going to think, oh, if you don't know why you're that religion, then why you are that religion. So today you're going to be learning many points, many values and many reasons as well.
So hopefully you've got a pen and a paper and you're writing down notes about why you're a Sikh.
Yes. So the first value will be told by Amanpreet Kaur and it's all about equality.
So the first value I'm going to be telling you about is equality. And the way I'm going to demonstrate equality is by the Guru Granth Sahib Ji. Now many people think that the Guru Bani that is in the Guru Granth Sahib Ji is only written by our 10 Gurus. But in fact that's not true. There are many other people who wrote in our Guru Granth Sahib Ji.
Yes.
And so the 2 ways that equality is shown in the Guru Granth Sahib Ji is by the caste system and religion-wise. And so I'm going to tell you the caste-wise first. And so at the time of Guru Nanak Dev Ji, and it still happens now, people believed in the caste system. And Dibji will tell you that in a bit more detail later on, so I won't tell you now. And so Bhagat Ravidas Ji was known as a lower caste person because he was brought up in a lower caste family and his ancestors were one. And that's why he was known as a lower caste person. And that's not fair, is it, Dibji?
No, not at all.
And so what happened was that Bhagat Ravidas Ji was actually had a very pure soul. He was kind, he was humble. And he also wrote Baniya. And our Gurus understood those Baniyas and said that these are the rules that some of our Sikhs should follow. And that's why Bhagat Ravidas Ji's Baniya are in the Guru Granth Sahib Ji, which was then known as the Pothi Sahib. And Dibji, what is the Guru Granth Sahib?
The Guru Granth Sahib Ji is our present Guru. And when we go to the Gurudwara, we normally bow down to them to show them respect.
And not only does the caste system show equality, but also Brahmins wrote Baniyas that are in the Pothi Sahib, now the Guru Granth Sahib Ji. And it was, in fact, 11 Bhatts Baniya. And Vidji, what are Bhatt?
Well, Bhatts are basically Brahmins, and yes, there were many Banis from them. So there were Brahmins called Kal, Jal, and even Tal.
And so if you want to try and visualize this, I would visualize it by a bench. So if you look at the bench, there are our gurus, some lower caste people, for example, Bhagat Ravidas ji, and some high caste people. So this shows equality, doesn't it?
Yes.
And so the other way Guru Granth Sahib ji shows equality is religion-wise. And so many people think that only Sikhs wrote Baniya that are in the Guru Granth Sahib, but in fact they're wrong. The example I have for you today is about a person called Baba Farid ji, and he wrote many good Baniya that are in the Guru Granth Sahib ji. And in fact, he wasn't a Sikh, he followed the religion Islam. And so, if you try to visualize the bench now, it shows equality caste-wise and religion-wise. So, the Gurus, what they accepted was a pure heart, a person who was kind, who was humble. And this is what Guruji is looking for nowadays, and so is Vaheguru. So we should have a pure heart. We shouldn't be mean, we shouldn't be greedy. We should do good deeds in our lives and follow the Baniya that are in the Guru Granth Sahib ji. So equality is one of the reasons why I'm proud to be a Sikh.
So the next value is all about our 10 humble Sikh Gurus. So in our previous shows, we have told you many Sakhis and many stories about how our Guruji has changed so many people's lives. Our Guruji have travelled many miles and they have changed so many people's lives. So from that person doing bad deeds to doing good deeds. Guruji has taught us to follow the right path, not the wrong path. And at that time, Hindustan was getting torn apart from the kings and the emperors and the royal family. And so if someone said, oh, this is injustice to us, we want the right things happening to us, not the wrong things, well, the king would say, oh, how dare this person deny me? This person is not allowed to do this. So there will be consequences. There will be a punishment. The kings went to people's houses, took young boys and young girls and took them as servants. They went into people's houses, and if they saw anything valuable, they would take it. So animals like horses, because they needed them, and even weapons, because the kings thought that only the royal family should have weapons, no one else at all. So that's what it was like in those days. And do you know what Guruji was doing? Guruji was doing the exact opposite from those kings. Guruji said, this should not be happening. Every person has the right to live a happy life. So Guruji made new facilities for everybody, like hospitals where people could get cured. And for people's entertainment, there were zoos where people could enjoy watching the beautiful animals, and even gardens where people could look at the plants. And not only this, but at that time, it was very hard to get water, because you couldn't just turn on a tap and get your water from there. No, you couldn't. You had to travel miles to get your water from a river, a lake, or something like that. And so do you know what Guruji did? Guruji dug up more lakes where people could then bathe and could have their water from. So Guruji had made many facilities for all those people who were suffering in those days. And now our Gurujis have told us so many things that we should follow, haven't they?
Yes.
And so I'm going to tell you one of those things, which was from our 6th Guru, Shri Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji. And he has told us not to hide and not to stay. And so Amarpreet, do you know what this means?
Well, he means that you shouldn't be afraid of anyone, should you?
No.
And you shouldn't scare someone, because you're doing a bad deed.
No, yes. So I'll just tell you this in a bit more detail. So if someone comes up to you and that person is being very mean, being very rude, and not speaking in the right way, you shouldn't stay hiding and be scared of that person. No, you need to stand up, go up to that person and say, no, this is very wrong, you shouldn't be doing this thing. And if you're really afraid of that person, do you know there are adults all around you, people who you believe in. Go to them, go to your teachers, your parents, your carers, go to them and say, look what this person is doing, you need to sort this out. Because that is a very good deed, to stop someone from doing a bad deed. Because if that person carries on, then, well, that's just really wrong, isn't it? They're following the wrong path. And so in schools, we have Anti-Bullying Week, and I think you've heard of that as well. Have you?
Yes.
And we have many activities in that week. And we make posters and have lots of things going on. But do you know what Anti-Bullying Week is really for? It's to make you understand that we shouldn't be bullying anyone else. We should be helping people, not to let someone suffer in pain. So that's what our 6th Guru has told us, to stand up and fight. Now our 9th Guru has told us something as well. Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji has told us not to scare anybody and not to be scared yourself. So this means, well, in our other show, we told you about Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji, didn't we? And at that time, the king wanted all of India just to become one religion, Islam. And so people were getting tortured in those times, blackmailed, and many things were happening. Everything was getting destroyed. So many people were getting scared and gave up. But Guruji said, no, you shouldn't give up. You should fight for the human rights, fight for justice. You need the justice. If you don't fight for it, then you're never ever going to get it. So our Guruji have told us many teachings, and we should follow them and follow the right path to Sikhi. And this is what makes me proud to be a Sikh. So our other value will be told by Amanpreet.
And so the third value that I'm going to tell you is about women. And before the time of Guru Nanak Dev Ji and after, what happened was men were very mean and cruel to women. And this was maybe because they didn't know the characteristics of women. They would make them work. They were like servants, basically.
Yes.
They would do the housework, and they weren't allowed to speak. And not only was it the men's fault, but religious leaders at the time and religious people like saints were actually encouraging the men to do this, because you know what they used to call the women? They used to call them Black Panthers, snakes, and they said to treat them like shoes.
So that's really, really mean, isn't it?
Yes. And the reason why they said that was because, look, they can attack you at any time behind your back. You should always be aware of them. If they don't speak, that means that they know you are mean and cruel. If you treat them like servants, they won't attack you. And not only was it this, that women didn't have the right to live after their husband had died, whereas men did. So what would happen if a woman's husband died? In those people nowadays still cremate people, and that is basically burning the body.
Yeah.
And what they would do is they would throw the woman into the same fire as her husband's. And so the woman wouldn't have the allowance to live at all. And how is that fair?
It's not fair at all. This shouldn't be happening.
But whereas the men, if their wife died, what would happen? They would be able to have another wife. They would get married again. So that's not really fair, is it?
No.
The men had rights that women weren't allowed. And so when Guru Nanak Dev Ji was born, they understood all of this. They were given wisdom by Vaheguru. And so one day people were preaching, and Guru Nanak Dev Ji asked to preach as well. And the first thing that Guru Nanak Dev Ji said on that stage was that Syo kyo manda akhiye jit jamme rajan. And the Sangat was astonished at what Guru Nanak Dev Ji had just said. Men and women couldn't believe that a man, for the first time in front of thousands and thousands of people, had said something good about women. Had it actually been on the women's side instead of the men.
Guruji has stood up for the woman, hadn't he? Because he knew what was happening.
And so, what Guru Nanak Dev Ji had said on that stage was that how can that being, that person, be treated like dirt if she is the one who gives birth to kings and rajas, and who later on become who we later on become their slaves. So the emperors, they were born from a woman.
Yes.
How can his mother be treated like dirt? And so everybody acknowledged this and put it into their lives. And so should we, shouldn't we?
Yes, we should. There should be equality between men and women.
And so not only was it Guru Nanak Dev Ji who showed equality through men and women, it was also many other of our gurus. And we might have told you a few sakhis about this as well.
Yes.
And so this is the third value why I'm proud to be a Sikh.
So the next value is about us being hardworking Sikhs. So Guruji has made us hardworking, not at all worthless, and we have the freedom to choose any job we want to, from being a sweeper to being a lawyer, a doctor, a king or a queen. So you can do any job at all. None of these matter. None of these jobs make us high or low. And now I'm going to be telling you about the caste system, as Amanpreet told you. So the caste system is basically, if your ancestors were farmers, you'll have to be a farmer as well. So you'll be known as a farmer and you'll have to do farming. If your ancestors were builders, you'll be known as a builder and you'll have to be a builder as well. So that's what the caste system is. Shouldn't we have the freedom to choose any job we want? Shouldn't we?
Yes, we should.
So we are allowed to choose any job. And you know, at home when we're doing the chores, when we're sweeping, we're a sweeper, aren't we? And when we're praying, we're a priest. When we're cooking, we're a cook. And when we're gardening, we're a gardener. This could go on and on and on. Because we are anyways doing all the jobs in our lives. So why be known as that job if you're doing it anyway? So this is what the caste system is, and we shouldn't believe in it at all. We should only believe in equality. Choose any job we want to. None of these make us high or low, and you should really remember this. So you might want to point this out to other people as well. So not just hard work, but you need to honest hard work. And do you know that honest hard work is one of our 3 golden rules, Kirt Karo. And we should be following this rule very much. It is very important to all of us. So I'm going to take an example. So do you know when we're at school and we're making projects? When we make it with our own hands, we are more proud of it, aren't we? Because if you just gave it to someone else and let that person do the job, well, you're not going to be as proud at all. You're just going to think, oh, that person did it for me. Oh, yeah, it's really good, that's it. But if you make it with your own honest hard work, then you're going to be more proud. You're going to say, yes, I did this with my own hands. Remember, never bribe, never steal, never torture someone for money. Work hard and you'll earn that money. Guruji has told us to be self-dependent, not dependent on anyone else. And this is what makes me proud to be a Sikh. So I wish you keep this in mind. So the next value is about...
It's about the religion that Guru Nanak Dev Ji began was to benefit the whole world.
Yes.
And so I'm going to tell you a bit about animals now. And so many animals like lions, cows, they look after themselves. They only care about themselves. They have babies, but they only look after them for about 6 months or a year.
Yeah.
And after that, they just leave them, abandon them, because they think they can do anything themselves. But whereas us humans, how can we be different if we do that to our children? We should have a family. We should look after that family. Many saints in those days didn't get married, but Guru Nanak Dev Ji and all of our gurus actually got married and had children and had siblings. And so one day one person came up to a guru and said, how come other saints aren't married, but you as a guru are married? And Guru Nanak Dev Ji, the guru said that, look, stay over in this house for the night. And the night that that man stayed at the house, it rained loads and loads. There was thunder, there was lightning, and it actually kind of flooded as well.
So it was very stormy at that night, wasn't it?
Yes. And so the man thought in his head that all those saints who aren't married, they are letting people on the streets be in this rain, in this thunder. But if I get married and I have children, then I'm not looking after myself. I'm looking after many other people. And our gurus and Vaheguru have made us different from animals. So don't we look after other people? We give money to charity, but what if we get married and help other people as well? So, if you're married, you have many other responsibilities as well.
Yes,
you don't think about yourself. You have to think about your family's name, your family's honour. And so that means that you don't do any bad deed. And Dibjit will be telling us one later on, wouldn't you?
Yes, I will.
And also, many people think that because they're born as a Sikh, they're amazing. They're something special. You are kind of special, but the only thing that will make you stand out, make you amazing, is that you do good deeds. if I'm a Sikh and I do bad deeds, that doesn't make me amazing. It makes me horrible and dirty. And so it doesn't matter what religion you are. All you should be is kind-hearted, humble, and you should have a pure soul, because that's all Vaheguru looks at. He doesn't judge us by our caste or our religion. He looks at our hearts first.
So we should only be a humble person, not greedy, not selfish, but be a humble and kind-hearted person.
So remember in your mind that you should always do good deeds. And so this is one of the reasons why I'm proud to be a Sikh.
Yes. So the next value is very important to us. It's all about drugs. So many people die because of drugs. Now, drugs are not something which is useful to you. No, it just ruins your life. Many people die because they think that if they're intense and they're having a bad life, they should take drugs to make them feel better. But this is not at all true. You shouldn't take drugs to just make you feel better, because it doesn't. It makes you feel even more worse. You should ask someone for help. Say to someone, I'm intense. I need someone's help. I need that supportive help from someone. You need to say that. Otherwise, you're just going to be dependent on something else which will just ruin your whole life. Now, drugs is a lack of many things and is a waste of many things as well. So it's a waste of time, a lack of health, a lack of respect, and a waste of money. All these things matter to us all the time. But if you're taking drugs, then none of these things matter to you. And so our Guruji has told us to look after the world, make it a happier place, and look after everybody else, hasn't he?
Yes.
So we should be doing that. But when you take drugs, you'll feel unconscious and you're dizzy, aren't you? So you don't know what you're doing. So you can't even look after yourself then. So how are you going to look after the whole world? How are you going to make it a happy place where everybody can live happily? Now, we know many people in our Sikh history, don't we? And they are all very important to us. Well, if they had taken drugs, we would have not known them. So it's also a lack of respect, as I told you earlier on. Because then, if we didn't know that we shouldn't be taking drugs in these times, then we would have not known those people who have had sacrifices for the right things instead of the bad things. Now, a waste of money. Let me tell you a bit about this. So, instead of wasting your money on these drugs which don't help you with anything at all, give it to charity. The people who really need that supportive help, who really need the facilities that we don't have in these days. So give it to them so they can have a happy life as well. Help everybody else instead of ruining a life. And Guruji has told us not to be relying on these drugs, but having a happy life and being kind-hearted and humble. And this is what makes me proud to be a Sikh. So our last value is all about our holy Amrit.
And so, Dipji, what is Amrit?
Well, Amrit is the holy water that we get baptized with. So Christians get baptized, and there are many religions who have a different ceremony for all of this, but we have the holy Amrit.
And so when you take Amrit, it shows Vaheguru that you are registered as a Sikh, and it tells Vaheguru that you have read Gurbani, you understand it, and you are ready to take it in your day-to-day life. And you have already practiced this in your life so that you can make sure that you won't do the wrong deed. And so you've practiced it and you've practiced it. And this time you're telling Vaheguru that, look, I have taken Amrit and now I will definitely do these good deeds. And I will try not to do bad deeds. I will try my hardest.
You will not believe in witchcraft, in good luck or bad luck. Don't believe in fasting, because none of these things matter to you anymore. You should only be following the right path. And remember, only believe in one God and do all those good deeds to make you a good person. And this is what makes us proud to be a Sikh. You have learnt so much about the Sikh values and why we should be proud to be a Sikh. Now, instead of saying, I don't know why I'm a Sikh to your friends, you can say, yes, I know why I'm a Sikh, and you can tell them all the reasons, can't you? I wish you'd written all the points down that we've given you, and now you can share it with your family, your friends, your relatives, and everybody else around you.
And also, we have done quite a few shows on Akaal channel, and hopefully you have learnt a lot about our Sikh history.
Yes.
And you should tell these Sakhis to other people, so other people are aware about their religion and other people are aware about the Sikh history.
Yes, don't just keep it in, but actually let it out. Tell everybody what you have actually learnt in our show. I wish you keep on supporting us, and if you want to give us any feedback, you can always call Akaal channel, and then we'll give you our feedback back to you. Remember to visit our website and look around for other things and other activities that you can try. So I wish you really enjoyed today's show and have taken lots in. Today was a very different topic, wasn't it?
Yes.
Instead of learning about someone, we learnt about our own religion, Sikhism. So I wish you'd taken it all in, tell someone else, and well, why you are proud to be Sikh. Now you know, don't you?
Yes.
So till our next show, Vaheguru Ji
Ji ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji ki Fateh.